This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dana Kozlov.
And I'm Jackie Kostek in for Audrina Sinclair. Thanks so much for being with us on this Monday morning. Now at 9, a car stolen with a 6-year-old boy inside. The overnight carjacking that ended in a crash, and one person now in custody.
And the cleanup continues in Skokie after a water main break flooded neighborhoods. We're back out there checking on the progress as temperatures really drop.
And those temperatures have us in alert mode this morning. We're in for a dangerously cold couple of days ahead.
Let's get started now with meteorologist Kylie Miller, who's in our First Alert Weather Center. Kylie, this is definitely going to be a tough few days.
Yeah, we're locked into this cold air mass that's not really going to budge until we hit the end of the week and over the weekend. But our temperatures right now finally in the positives. We're at 4 degrees for O'Hare, Midway coming in at 6. Lots of sunshine to go around, so open up the shades, let some of that sunshine in. It's going to hopefully help beat these cold temperatures. It does feel, though, like we're at -12 because of these stronger winds out of the west sustained at 16 miles per hour. So the round 1 of the cold weather advisories will expire here at 11 a.m., so almost done. But then a secondary round is going to get reintroduced by 9 p.m. tonight, and that one will expire at noon for tomorrow. So wind chill values today ranging from 15 to 25 degrees sub-zero, -15 to -30 for tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be even colder than today. By the time we hit Wednesday, it's going to feel like 10 to 20 degrees below zero, but then snow showers are going to get moving through the region. It's not going to be a big snow by any stretch, maybe a ½ inch to 1.5 inches of snowfall accumulations. I'll go through your hour-by-hour forecast. Coming up, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Kylie, thanks so much. And now to our nonstop news. One person is in custody after an early morning carjacking.
It happened on the city's west side. Chicago police tell us a woman, a 6-year-old boy, and a baby were sitting in a car near California and Lexington around 4:30 this morning. 2 offenders, implying they had a weapon, forced the woman and the infant from the car and drove it away with the 6-year-old still inside. He was let out of the car a short distance away unharmed. The offenders then sped away, crashing that car on the Eisenhower Expressway. Here you see it getting towed away. The woman and children were not hurt, and the search is now on for that second offender.
And we have a traffic alert for you now out of the south suburbs. We're learning more about a 3-car crash in Markham. You can see from Skywatch, emergency crews did shut down Dixie Highway from 159th to 167th. That was earlier this morning. We saw an SUV with its front end smashed in and 2 cars rammed into the guardrail. Sources tell us 4 ambulances were called to that scene. We have reached out to police to see if this is still impacting traffic and to check on any injuries. Chris Habermill will have an update for us in about 15 minutes.
And this morning, boil water advisories have been lifted in Skokie and Evanston after a water main broke on Friday, flooding several blocks.
It left residents without water for days, and many are still reeling as cleanup begins. Our Darius Johnson is live in Skokie with the latest on cleanup efforts. Darius, what are you seeing now?
Hey there, ladies. Good morning to you. Yes, we just talked about how this is unprecedented, and it has really left a lot of these residents holed up in their homes since Friday. But the fortunate part about today is that they now have water that they are able to consume once again now that that boil water advisory has been lifted. But take a look behind me right now. This is what that intersection looks like where that water main broke on Friday morning. You can still see there is large equipment here. There are a lot of big holes in the ground. These holes are running about at least 6 to possibly even 10 feet deep as we've kind of gone around just to see. So this cleanup is definitely going to take some time. Take a look at this video. That water main broke on Friday morning. It left streets, yards, and homes inundated with water and even ruined vehicles. Skokie officials say crews determined a fitting cap of a major water transmission main failed. That caused the break. A replacement part was then installed on Saturday evening, but before that was installed, the water started to freeze over due to the bitter temperatures, causing those crews to really chisel away at the ice to break it all up. Since Friday, residents have been advised to boil water. That ended on Sunday night, and they had to pick up bottled water throughout various places. We spoke to one resident last night who was thrilled that she had clean running water once again.
In this little area, we've been without water since Thursday night. It was before the major break. So we are really excited to have it all clean and ready to go again.
The village of Skokie said testing confirmed tap water meets all Illinois Environmental Protection Agency water quality standards, and the water is now safe to drink. However, there are a few steps they want you to follow. The village recommends residents flush their faucets by removing faucet aerators. Begin in the lowest level of your home and run cold water. Let that run for 5 minutes. Lastly, you want to turn off each tap before beginning at the highest level of your home. Back out here live this morning, another look at what that intersection looks like as we wait for crews to possibly finish up that construction today, but you kind of wonder if that will happen today. Of course, it is President's Day, so it's questionable if they'll be back out here this morning fixing things or if they are going to resume their work tomorrow. However, the village of Skokie says it is prepared to submit all of the paperwork from residents for any federal disaster funds. Reporting in Skokie this morning, I'm Darius Johnson. Dana and Jackie, back to you.
Darius, thank you so much. A man is in critical condition after he was shot in a car on Chicago's north side. Police say the 28-year-old was hit by bullets at least twice. The car he was in then crashed into other parked cars. This happened just after midnight on Estes Avenue near the lakefront in Rogers Park. He was rushed to St. Francis Hospital. So far, no one has been arrested.
And breaking overnight, we now know that Pope Francis will not be leaving the hospital in Rome anytime soon. The Vatican says tests reveal the Pope is suffering from a polymicrobial respiratory tract infection. This will require more changes to the Pope's drug therapy. We do not have a time frame for how long he'll remain hospitalized. Now, this infection is just the latest in a string of health concerns for the 88-year-old pontiff.
Well, thousands of federal workers are now without a job, while thousands more are worried that they could be next.
As CBS News' Jared Hill reports, the Trump administration continues to move forward with efforts to shrink the federal workforce and reduce spending.
Nearly a month back in office, President Donald Trump with a victory lap at Sunday's Daytona 500.
Our country is doing well again.
Praise from some in the sold-out crowd as the president and ally Elon Musk continue full throttle in reshaping the federal government.
I think he's doing good things. It's just going to take time.
But steep cuts in the federal workforce are leaving thousands of employees on edge. At least 1,300 people have been laid off at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. More than 1,000 employees cut from the Department of Veterans Affairs. And thousands of probationary workers across multiple departments received termination notices last week. Among them, Chelsea Milburn, a Navy veteran based in Nevada, fired from the Department of Education.
Government reform can be a good thing, but it's not good to take broad sweeping actions that don't take into account people's lives, their performance, or, their service to this country.
California-based former IRS worker Jordan Solis was one of nearly 70,000 to take a voluntary buyout with the promise of full pay and benefits through September.
To treat employees like this and to say, hey, either take this offer now or, potentially get laid off later, that was very disrespectful to most of the federal workforce.
Those job cuts now being challenged in the courts, part of at least 70 lawsuits the Trump administration is already facing. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The Trump administration is also targeting the Federal Aviation Administration. The union representing FAA workers says hundreds of probationary employees who maintain critical services for air traffic control are being let go. Many of those workers install, inspect, and maintain air traffic control communications, radio, and computer systems. Now, this move comes less than 3 weeks after a mid-air collision near Washington, D.C. killed 67 people. That crash highlighted shortages of air traffic controllers and problems with the agency's infrastructure. And today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio continues his Middle East trip with meetings in Saudi Arabia. That's where negotiations will begin tomorrow between the U.S. and Russia to try and hammer out an agreement to end the war in Ukraine. Now, Saudi officials say they'll play a key mediation role for talks between President Donald Trump and Russia's President Vladimir Putin. The Russians have previously said they don't want to negotiate the pocket that Ukrainians control on Russian territory in the Kursk region. Russia wants that territory back. There is also the question of territory the Russians currently occupy in Ukraine. President Trump also says Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky will be involved. But just this morning, Ukrainian President Zelensky says Ukraine will not participate in the talks in Saudi Arabia. He says Ukraine knew nothing about them and that Ukraine cannot recognize any agreement about the country without them being part of that agreement.
Well, today officially celebrates George Washington's birthday, honoring the nation's first president. George Washington's actual birthday is February 22nd, but this federal holiday became more commonly known as President's Day after the celebration was fixed to the third Monday of February. In observance of President's Day, some businesses are closed today. Regular USPS services will be suspended until tomorrow. This includes Chicago area and Illinois post offices. The U.S. stock market and banks are also closed. Government offices are also not open. Well, Saturday Night Live celebrating 50 years. How the iconic sketch comedy show marked the milestone. We'll show you some of the night's biggest moments.
And it's not just us feeling the cold. An Arctic blast bringing record-setting temperatures. How cold it's expected to get across the country.
Across the country and here locally at home, too, is going to be dangerously cold for these next few days. Relief, though, is in sight. I'll break down your first alert weather forecast when I return.
Well, we aren't the only ones getting hit hard by the brutally cold temperatures. An Arctic blast could bring potentially record-setting cold to the U.S. this week. Forecasters say wind chills could hit -50 near the Canadian border over the next couple of days and below zero in parts of Texas. They predict snow and wintry rain will push east from the plains tomorrow, and it could hit areas still reeling from a deadly and historic weekend storm. Kentucky has the highest death toll from that. The state's governor crediting emergency responders with performing more than 1,000 rescues in under 24 hours.
It's saving as many lives as we can. It's positioning our assets, our swift water boat teams, not just where flooding is happening, but where we know it's coming.
Virginia, West Virginia, and Tennessee also are recovering from floods. Today, the storm system is moving out, leaving behind inches or even feet of snow in the Northeast and in parts of Canada as well.
Meteorologist Kylie Miller joining us now, and it is the kind of morning, the kind of temperatures where you walk outside and it just doesn't feel good. It just hits you in the face immediately.
And you start shivering right away.
Yes.
Yeah, numerous layers needed for today, all the way through Wednesday, because we are talking about this extreme cold. So we're not alone in this. As you could see, pretty much coast to coast dealing with this cold air trend. Now, as we head through the day today, our temperatures only hovering near 10 degrees at best. Even colder air, though, is expected for tomorrow, with those wind chill values ranging anywhere from 15 to 30 degrees below zero. And then by the time we hit Wednesday, yes, it is still going to be cold, but we are going to be watching out for a few scattered snow showers to roll through the region. So currently we have sunshine now as we take a live look across Dealey Plaza. Looks lovely, but boy, is it cold. 4 degrees, the current temperature. It feels like 13 below zero because of these westerly winds at 13 miles per hour. So temperatures now across the entire region, at least we're in the positives, but negatives is how it feels as soon as you step outside. So make sure that you take all the necessary precautions. Frostbite could happen in about 30 minutes or less with temperatures this cold. By the afternoon, not much relief. Yes, we're going to be holding on to a mainly clear sky condition, but it's still going to feel like we're around 5 to 10 degrees below zero. And then tonight into tomorrow, feeling anywhere from -15 to about -30. So especially across our northern communities late tonight into tomorrow morning, it's really going to be cold. The Arctic air will last for the day on Wednesday. And because of this cold air sticking around, the National Weather Service has already released another cold weather advisory. Starts at 9 p.m. tonight, expiring noon tomorrow. So looking ahead, our temperatures are still going to be in the teens for highs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. By the time we hit Friday, we're back into the 20s, and then over the weekend, some small improvements again with our temperatures, but we are going to be monitoring some of that light snowfall throughout the day on Wednesday. It's going to start Tuesday night throughout Wednesday, just a small chance for some snow shower activity. So again, for the cold, weather alerts have been posted today as well as tomorrow. By Wednesday, still cold with a few leftover snow showers throughout the mid hours of the day and then continuing to dry out for the evening. By the time we get Thursday and Friday, we'll see more sunshine. Temperatures, though, approaching back into the 30s on Sunday. 37 for your high with a mostly cloudy sky. All right, Chris, I'll send it over to you in the traffic center.
Thank you very much, Kylie. Hi, everybody. It's President's Day, and you would think that with the light traffic volume, we wouldn't have a lot going on. Unfortunately, we do. So let's go to the maps. I will show you that we've got a variety of things to kind of keep us busy out here. Look at this big angry red line coming out of northwest Indiana, just past the Illinois border here over to Torrance. You've got at least one left lane blocked with a crash there on westbound 8094. Crash investigation continues. Dixie Highway closed 159th to 163rd. You heard about that one earlier. So still use Wood Street off to the east. Getting back in, starting to get kind of busy right here. We've got a delay right from the Stevenson to the Byrne interchange. Inbound Ryan Ramp to the outbound Ike, got a lane blockage crash there as well. And to add to that, southbound I-55, if you're exiting to southbound Route 83, it's a little bit slow getting through there. Dump truck came through. Guess the back gate came open and it dumped a whole bunch of debris in the left lane. So a wide variety of things. Other than that, it's pretty lightweight out there. Chris Habermill, CBS News Chicago.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. Well, a live look now from the Chicago Auto Show, where today is your last day to attend. So the show taking place at McCormick Place features hundreds of different vehicles from more than 24 manufacturers. Today wraps up the show's 117th year, which is wild that it's been around that long.
I know, right?
You can buy tickets online at chicagoautoshow.com. It closes at 8 o'clock.
And going to the beach is probably the last thing on your mind in this cold weather, but the city of Evanston is getting ready for warmer and more pet-friendly days. The Evanston Dog Beach will officially open March 1st, and you can start picking up beach passes today. They'll be available at community centers on weekdays, but make sure to bring your dog's vaccination forms. The passes are free for residents. For everyone else, they'll cost $200 for the first dog and $75 for the second.
Saturday Night Live celebrated 50 years this weekend with a star-studded show including many celebrity guests.
They also brought back iconic sketches, including Black Jeopardy, where they reunited some well-known alums and even poked fun at SNL.
This legendary late-night show created some of comedy's biggest stars. It's a sketch comedy show. It's been on for a long time. Darius, what is in living color?
That was Kenan Thompson, Leslie Jones, Tracy Morgan, and Eddie Murphy. During the sketch, Eddie Murphy was actually playing Tracy Morgan. Now, the night included a host of other sketches, like a revamped Domingo with more stars, and a question and answer session with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, who took questions from the celebrity audience. On the red carpet before the show, stars talked about the impact it's had on their lives.
This is a dream come true for me. Since I was a kid, I used to cut my birthday cake and make a wish to be on Saturday Night Live and throw a coin in a fountain, and 50 years later, here I am. I'm the luckiest guy on earth.
I love that expression of gratitude. You think about so many of these now stars, but when they started on the show, they were really young.
I know.
You know, they were still up and coming.
Very much. And it launched their careers. So many of them just went on to have superly successful careers. I just made up a word.
We know words, yeah.
Superly.
Superly. It is a Monday, and it is a holiday Monday at that. Favorite sketch?
Well, I loved all the presidential impressions. I was thinking about this. I also loved, this is way back, the land shark sketches, because they're so ridiculous.
Yes.
It's like, knock, knock, who's there? And then they open the door. It's like, land shark, and they eat people.
That's all you need. That's all you need. You know what I was saying? And the more modern ones is the Californians. Do you remember that?
I do. Those were very funny.
105 to the 17, whatever the highways are. Okay, that's good. All right, tonight, a CBS special shining a spotlight on black actors who are forging a path in daytime and primetime TV.
I think she's a hero. I'm here because of her.
CBS stars like Morris Chestnut, who we just had on the show a couple weeks ago, Cedric the Entertainer and Wayne Brady share their personal stories and reflections on their time in the entertainment industry. You can catch On TV, a Black History Month special, tonight at 7 o'clock right here on CBS News Chicago and streaming on Paramount+. Also tonight, the American Black Film Festival is celebrating several of Hollywood's brightest stars. Honorees include Marla Gibbs, who's from Bronzeville. She's best known for her role on the CBS sitcom The Jeffersons. Keke Palmer is also being recognized. She's originally from South Suburban Robbins. The American Black Film Festival honors are tonight in Los Angeles. A few blooms can really boost your spirit in today's Mental Health Minute. How bringing nature inside with some colorful flowers can lift your mood.
And in today's Jumpstart, we are live at a new building in North Lawndale, offering people a space for creativity and collaboration.
I'm Marisa Vedra, and this is today's Mental Health Minute. It is after Valentine's Day. Maybe someone bought you flowers, or you bought yourself flowers. Either way, do you ever notice when you have them in your home, it feels like a boost? There is real benefit to bringing nature inside. We're talking about that today with Dr. Tyler Saunders. He practices internal medicine with Endeavor Health. So, doctor, it seems like flowers are a really easy way to do this.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways to try to bring in nature, and flowers are a good kind of addition for a lot of different reasons. One's kind of the color.
Sure.
You're bringing a lot of color and the smell as well. And it's also associated with kind of more of a calming effect.
Yeah.
And just kind of makes us feel good to a certain extent to see that pop of color that we don't normally have. But in addition to that, we also want to think about light, and not only the color from flowers, but also light when we're thinking about what's good for our health overall. A lot of times in the winter, it's very dark all the time, and that's why we try to bring in more light. And there really is no substitute for the true light, which is the sun, and that's going to be really helpful for us. So trying to focus as much as we can on bringing in light into our life from the sun early in the morning as well as later on at night, kind of the sunset light is most beneficial for circadian rhythm, and that's ultimately going to make us feel better as we move throughout the day.
So buy yourself some blooms, or remember, even if it's cloudy outside, there might still be some natural light, so open your blinds and get that dose of sunlight the next time you take a minute for your mental health.
You know, that natural, I'm sorry.
No.
I was going to say that natural light's such a saver.
It's such a huge
during
yes.
during the winter.
And I actually do think having the flowers can boost your spirit. I think I might buy some
You should do it.
I can't even talk.
Do it.
For more quick ways to boost your spirit, head to cbschicago.com/mental health minute. I really do love these mental health minutes,
I do too.
It's just like a little dose of something that you can do for yourself. Makes you think a little bit, reminders of what works.
Yep, and it's important. Self-care is important, folks.
It sure is.
Well, next at 9:30, an investigation in River North after 2 dogs are shocked while stepping on a manhole cover.
This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dana Kozlov.
And I'm Jackie Kostek in for Audrina. Thanks so much for sticking with us on your President's Day Monday. It is a cold one out there with bitter temperatures that are going to be sticking around for a bit. We're in weather alert mode this morning to get you prepared for the next few days ahead.
So let's get the latest with meteorologist Kylie Miller, who is in the First Alert Weather Center right now. Good morning, Kylie.
Good morning. At least we have sunshine in the forecast for these next few days, but it is cold. Temperatures right now in the single digits region-wide, but it feels like we're about 5 to 15 degrees below zero, even colder in some areas like DeKalb, Aurora closing in on -20 for those feels-like conditions. It's going to be breezy for today, and that is sending those wind chill values down into the negatives. Not just this morning, but a good majority of the day, it is going to be feeling like we're about 5 to 15 degrees below zero. So yes, even this afternoon, not much improvement, even though our actual air temperatures will continue to climb into the upper single digits. So for today, I'm calling it a good mix of sun and clouds. Weather alerts have been posted for today and tomorrow. By Wednesday, yes, it's still going to be cold, but we're going to be tracking some snow. I'll go over your hour-by-hour forecast coming up. Dana and Jackie.
Kylie, thank you.
And because of those freezing temperatures, warming centers are open today in and around the city. So the Garfield Community Service Center will be open from 9 until 5 o'clock today. 57 Chicago Park District field houses will also be open, and you can warm up at any Chicago police station. Libraries are closed today for President's Day, but they will reopen as warming centers tomorrow. Cook County also has a few warming centers available. They include the Skokie, Maywood, and Markham courthouses, which will be open until 5 o'clock tomorrow night. You can bring your pets there as well, as long as they're in carriers. And West Suburban Aurora opened up its overnight warming center at the Wesley United Methodist Church. That's near May and New York Streets. It'll be open every evening from 8 o'clock at night until 8 o'clock in the morning through Wednesday. Developing now in West Suburban Cicero, fire investigators are back on the scene this morning to determine what caused a weekend explosion and fire at a building there.
As our SL Reside tells us, first responders also found a body in that debris.
We've heard back from the medical examiner's office this morning, and they say that person is still unidentified, but we've learned they were outside of the building at the time of the blast. Take a look at what things look like here this morning. You see a tarp is covering the front of where that building used to stand. Work crews just got here within the last couple of minutes, assumably to remove some of the rubble that remains here. We'll show you video we have from a dash camera that caught the moment the house exploded. This is near Central Avenue in Cermak. Happened around 5 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Moments later, flames took over the two-story building, scorching nearly 40 years of memories for Eleni Vretos' house. Vretos lived here in an apartment with her family and says they weren't here because everyone was at her wedding. The blast so strong it blew out some windows across the street. Fire officials telling us it's a possible gas leak that caused the explosion.
Once the ceremony ended, we got word that potentially our house was on fire, or maybe the neighbors or something.
Windows across the street got blown out, okay? So there's I-beams that got blown out. So it's indicating of a gas explosion.
We know people in surrounding buildings had to be evacuated. Investigators tell us in total 5 families were displaced. The exact cause of the explosion remains under investigation this morning. Reporting in Cicero, I'm SL Reside, CBS News Chicago.
And thanks to SL, the Glenview Police Department is mourning one of its own killed in a car crash on the way to work. It happened yesterday morning along Northwest Highway in Barrington, just south of Main Street. Glenview police have identified the officer as 43-year-old Robert Frick. To give his co-workers time to grieve, authorities from Cook County and neighboring police departments are pitching in to cover shifts. The cause of that crash is still under investigation. And an investigation is underway after 2 dogs were shocked in River North. Police say the first dog stepped on an electrified manhole cover near the corner of Dearborn and Ontario around noon Saturday. Less than 2 hours later, a second dog was shocked. Witnesses say that dog died, but we have not independently confirmed that information. ComEd and the Department of Electricity went to the area and have since deemed it safe. But neighbors put this sign up in the area, just in case.
Well, today, Senator Dick Durbin is in Chicago, highlighting programs he says are being negatively impacted by the Trump administration. In less than an hour, Durbin will be at the AIDS Foundation of Chicago to help call attention to consequences of budget cuts to key safety net programs. At 11 o'clock, Durbin is set to join researchers and medical officials at Illinois Medical District in the Loop. They'll discuss the Trump administration's actions that they say harm the National Institutes of Health, which gives about $1.2 billion to Illinois universities each year. Former Illinois Governor Pat Quinn is calling on Governor J.B. Pritzker to appoint an independent Illinois Reform Commission to address corruption in the state. This comes just days after former Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan was convicted in his corruption trial, and President Trump pardoned former Governor Rod Blagojevich for his corruption conviction. Well, the proposed reform commission would be able to put multiple reforms in place. This includes banning conflict of interest voting by lawmakers and suspending taxpayer-paid pensions to lawmakers with corruption indictments. Well, next we'll be back at a new building in North Lawndale, giving residents a space for creativity and collaboration. One of the founders joins us live for a behind-the-scenes look at Starling.
Cubs top prospect Matt Shaw is set to break into the big leagues at third base. Coming up in my spring training report, hear why his veteran teammates aren't trying to overload him with advice.
And it's a cold President's Day. If the kids have the day off, indoor activities. I'll let you know how long this frigid temperature trend is going to last. Straight ahead with your first alert weather.
Welcome back. In today's Jumpstart, we're checking out a new place in North Lawndale designed for co-working and collaborating.
The building, called Starling, is a multi-purpose space where residents can rent rooms for various needs like meetings, music producing, art galleries, and a whole lot more. Joining us now with a closer look is Rafael Robles, co-founder and director of Duo, which is the development firm behind the building. Good morning once again, Rafael.
Good morning again.
So tell us, what are some of the highlights, in your opinion, of this space?
Absolutely. Well, we talked this morning a lot about the interior highlights, but actually right now what I want to do is nerd out a little bit on the architecture and go outside of the building, even in this cold Chicago weather, because we think it's really important. The building is situated on historic 16th Street in North Lawndale, between Kedzie and Pulaski on 16th Street. It used to be what we would see of any lovely Chicago corridor. So think of like your Southport corridor or 18th Street. So something that was really important for us is to bring the scale of the building down to the neighborhood scale so that people could feel a really welcoming space. Where I'm walking right now is these terraces that we elevated from the sidewalk. The sidewalk is below because we wanted to make it so that people felt really invited into the building. The blue walls were a really intentional choice. They're cast in place concrete walls that we created as a sculptural piece to the neighborhood, and the blue paint representing all of the work and liberation that has happened in Chicago and other places. And then you can see the terraces here, they're shaded, and we're hoping that with the windows that you can swing open like an accordion from the outside, on spring, summer, and fall days, we'll be able to open these up and really remove the barrier between interior and exterior and make the building feel like it's part of the street and part of the neighborhood. So if you can look down, it's something that is really important for us to highlight is that we're building on all of the work that has been happening in North Lawndale. If you look at the 2017 Quality of Life Plan in North Lawndale, neighbors have really focused on highlighting 16th Street and revitalizing 16th Street as a main commercial corridor. So across from us, kitty corner from us is a community garden. 2 blocks from us is a high school. So you can see how Starling is starting to be another addition as a kind of commercial gathering community space where people can come in, hang out, and really make it their own. And we're really excited to welcome all of our neighbors here.
Rafael, that's really so cool. Amazing. And thank you so much. You've done such a great job of showing off the space, both indoors and outdoors. We noticed how packed the lobby, the entrance of the space is this morning. Can you tell us just how people can get involved and how they can use the space as well?
Absolutely. So there are a couple of ways. The main way that you can, participate is coming to the building, getting some coffee. You can come hang out without buying coffee, but if you go to our website, duodevelopment.org/Starling, you can get information about how you can rent and reserve some of these spaces so that you can bring your program into life. So if you want to give a class, if you want to host a chess club, if you want to do a poetry night, you can really make the building your own. And every day as you come, you'll get to experience other neighbors' events that they're putting on. A lot of them are free. Some of them are for low cost, but it really is bringing a lot of life to this corner that once was vacant just 8 months ago.
It's so great, Rafael, to see a vision for a neighborhood start really coming to life, and you are a part of it. So thank you so much, Rafael Robles, one of the co-founders of Starling, for sharing all that you offer with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
And one thing that I love about their vision and how they made it they brought it into fruition, is now they're helping other people bring their ideas into fruition too. By giving this space that can be used in so many different ways. It's really such a cool idea. And it looks nice and cozy on what is a very cold day. I can't believe he was willing to go outside. I mean, I know he really wanted to show off the outside, which is awesome, but man, it's chilly out.
I know, he's walking around without a hat, without gloves. He's like, it might as well have been 50 degrees, but it's not, is it, Kylie?
It's not. He's probably running back inside as we speak. Yeah, it is very cold outdoors. Temperatures are only going to be climbing into the upper single digits for today. So again, very cold Arctic air today as well as tomorrow. By Wednesday, snow showers return to the forecast. Nothing heavy, nothing widespread, just on and off snow. By next week, we will finally start to thaw out with our temperatures. But until then, single digits for highs today, and then the teens Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, back into the 20s for your Friday and Saturday, and then by Sunday, Monday, upper 30s, and then get ready for the 40s Tuesday and Wednesday. So that's really going to be a nice treat for us. We are waking up with sunshine right now, but our temperatures are still in the single digits, feeling like we're about 5 to 20 degrees below zero. The winds today out of the west gusting upwards of about 25 miles per hour. So that's going to send these wind chill values all day long through the negatives. So not much relief. At least we will be dealing with the sunshine for today. Now, as we head through the day tomorrow, it's actually going to be a little bit colder. Wind chills overnight tomorrow ranging from -15 to -30. And then by Wednesday, it's still going to feel like we're about 10 to 20 degrees sub-zero. So the first round of the cold weather alerts will expire at 11 a.m., the cold weather advisories, but then the secondary round gets reissued at 9 p.m. tonight, expiring noon tomorrow. On top of all that, yes, it is still going to be drastically colder on Wednesday, but we're also going to be monitoring some scattered snow showers. It's just going to be some brief periods of snow, maybe a ½ inch to an inch of snowfall accumulation, nothing too robust. A few flurries could dot our landscape later on this evening. By Tuesday, some lake-enhanced snowfall, especially for northwest Indiana. A small little window of some snow opportunities on Wednesday, and then we'll have drier conditions Thursday through the upcoming weekend. All right, Chris, I'll send it back over to you in the traffic center. How's it going?
Well, can't wait until we thaw out. We got a double bummer in northwest Indiana, and somebody just crashed on the Eden. So let's get over to the maps, and I will show you what I mean. First of all, wide view shows it's presidential light, but down here northwest Indiana had a crash going westbound at Torrance. That got cleared. Now we have one eastbound right before you get to the Indiana state line, past Torrance. There seems to be a theme setting up here. At least the left lane is blocked there. It's solid from back at the Bishop Ford. Crash investigation in Markham. Dixie Highway remains closed south of 159th. Use wood. We get back into our core expressway. It's a little tight just south of the Byrne interchange, but on the inbound side of the Edens, that's ugly. From about Dempster on down to just before Toohey. Somebody wound up in the ditch on the right side. Everybody's slowing down to take a look and see what's going on. And here's a driver who had another kind of a bad Monday. Semi-trailer split open, eastbound North Avenue coming out of Wicker Park, getting onto the outbound Kennedy entrance. Don't get messed up in that. Enter outbound at Division or Armitage, and we're still dealing with cleaning up debris in the left lane, southbound 55 at 83, trying to get off onto southbound 83. Have a great day. Drive safe. Let's be nice to each other. Chris Habermill, CBS News Chicago.
Spring training continues in Mesa, Arizona, and we're talking about one of the Cubs catchers who is going to have an opportunity to prove himself and potentially get that starting spot.
Yep, there was a lot of rotation last year at third base, but now Ryan Baker reports that rookie Matt Shaw wants to be the guy as he competes for the starting job at spring training.
Despite hitting a speed bump early in camp with a minor oblique injury, top prospect Matt Shaw remains on the fast track to be the Cubs' opening day starting third baseman.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, obviously that's my goal for this spring. So, being able to do that would be amazing. It'd be a dream come true. Having, the front office, coaching staff, players kind of believe in me and believe that I can help this team, win a division and move forward with that would be amazing.
The 2023 first-round pick has a small sample size on the hot corner after switching from shortstop to third last year in the minors. Shaw has several vets to lean on, but they don't want to get into his head too much.
I've overcoached in my life or overhelped, and I think I'm going to try more of the underhelp this time. He's such a gifted player, and he knows that I'm available for him with whatever he were to need, whether it's questions, advice, or an ear that will listen.
I think something that I definitely respect about Dan's and kind of that hands-off approach is that he's kind of letting me, come to him with all the questions that I have, which I'm sure I'll have a lot.
I think it's a reps thing. It's just reps. And but just kind of keep getting him reps, and he'll keep getting better.
Shaw is expected to resume hitting and throwing on Monday, so he might not be out there right away when Cactus League play gets going later in the week. After spending the last 2 springs here in Mesa, ex-Cub Mike Talkman has moved across the desert to Sox camp. Among a handful of 30-somethings on a young Sox roster, the 34-year-old Palatine native doesn't mind being the old man in the clubhouse.
I was a young player once, and this is my 11th spring training, and getting a little bit older, and the opportunity to give a helpful piece of advice or let somebody vent or download something. I had so many great role models in that way, and obviously I love this game and love talking about it, and I'm looking forward to interacting with some of those guys.
And the more you can do, I mean, you could plug a few holes.
Yeah, I mean, sure, I'm comfortable playing all 3 outfield spots. At points in my career, I've played every single day. At points in my career, I've come off the bench. Where there's a big difference between playing every day and then, not taking an at-bat for 3 days and having to come in a big situation and have an at-bat. So, I'm comfortable doing whatever they ask me.
Without risking getting you in trouble, you grew up rooting for which team in Chicago?
I mean, honestly, it's a little bit of a cop-out, but probably both. I was just such a huge baseball fan growing up, and my mom's from the South Side, so she's always been a little bit more of a Sox fan. And as you get a little bit older, and you can drive down to Wrigley, and you can kind of experience that when you get your driver's license in the summertime and stuff like that, and go to a few more Cubs games. But the first game I ever went to was White Sox games. Extremely passionate group of fan bases, and they deserve some quality baseball this year, and we're going to try to give it to them.
Talkman will join his fellow White Sox position players when they take the field on Monday at Camelback Ranch. Covering spring training in Arizona, Ryan Baker, CBS News Chicago.
Thanks, Ryan. Next, a look at the stories that we are following today, including a carjacking investigation on Chicago's West Side. Welcome back, everyone. Here's a look at the stories that we're keeping an eye on today.
One person is in custody after a carjacking in Lawndale. A woman and a baby were forced from their car around 4:30 this morning. CPD says 2 offenders drove away with a 6-year-old child still in the car. They released the child a short distance away and later crashed the car on the Eisenhower Expressway. The woman and the children were thankfully not hurt. Police are searching for that second suspect.
In West Suburban Cicero, a disturbing discovery after a weekend fire swept through a 2-story building and destroyed a family's home. This morning, a body has been discovered in the debris. So far, there is no word on the person's identity.
The boil water order has been lifted in Skokie and Evanston. This after a water main break flooded several blocks on Friday morning. Residents and city workers are still cleaning up the mess left behind. The village of Skokie says it will help residents submit paperwork for federal disaster funds.
Good thing that is cleaned up because our temperatures today very cold, only reaching highs in the single digits. It will feel like we're about 15 to 25 degrees below zero. And then we're going to repeat it again pretty much for tomorrow, but even colder wind chills expected, especially for our northwestern suburbs. We could get as cold as -30. A few snow showers will pass through on Wednesday. Drier conditions for the end of the week and the upcoming weekend. But finally, we're talking about temperature relief Sunday into the start of next week.
Great. I hope the temperatures keep going up at that point,
yes.
Kylie.
43 turns soon enough.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us here on the News at 9. Your local news continues right here on the stream.
Have a great day and stay safe.